Welcome mga kababayan. This is Attorney Fred Bison and this is The Agenda. Ano ba talaga ang naging issue rito?
Implement contractualization here is really absurd and ridiculous already.
Ba't ibang pananaw? Isa ang agenda.
This is Attorney Fred Bison and this is The Agenda. Good morning everyone. It's already 10:04 and we are going to be in our show as in now. Welcome to another edition of The Agenda, a weekly program at Club Filipino brought to you by Impact Publishing in cooperation with EFG Consulting Incorporated. For today's episode, we are going to discuss a hot topic in the form of a budget of a significant, if not the most important department when it comes to growth of our country, the Department of Education. In recent days, we have seen the budget of this Department of Education come under intense scrutiny na batikos, kabilang because of the series of controversies regarding the procurement process, spending priorities, and the hottest topic of all, the use of confidential funds. Of course, we know that it was previously headed by Vice President Sara Duterte and now being handled by former Senator, now DepEd Secretary Sir Sani Angara. Okay. What we have here as resource persons, of course, yung isa parating pa lang, but itong kasama ko ngayon is a very vocal, active, courageous, former representative of the Gabriela Women's Party. She is known as an advocate for social justice. She currently co-chairs the Makabayan, and her background in legislative oversight positions serve as a good source of insights and opinions tungkol sa mga nangyayari ngayon sa DepEd 2025 budget. Help me welcome in our show si Ma'am Lisa Masa. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning po. Thank you very much for having me. And good morning to our friends in media.
Uunahin ko na kay kagad, ma'am. Pagdating sa parliamentary rules, okay po ba, ma'am, na magtanong ng mga questions yung ating Committee on Appropriations to Sec. Sani Angara about those issues na hindi naman niya alam dahil kakaupo lang niya?
Well, merong handicap si Secretary Angara pagdating doon kasi kakaupo nga lang niya, but meron naman siyang mga staff who can help him and at the same time who can answer directly. No? Kasi unfair din naman kay Secretary Angara kung ano siya, no? Yung ipipress siya sa mga answers na nag-adjust pa lang siya. He's also only just maybe studying what happened, during the previous management under Vice President Duterte.
Okay. Yung kasama mga resource persons can always answer with respect to the other disbursements previous years. Hindi na kasama doon sa 2025 or even let's say previous years sa 2024. Tama po ba, ma'am, na pati yung 2021, 2020 na mga procurement or mga expenditures, kasama pa buwin sa mga tanong ng ating mga kongresista?
Well, actually, in a way, pwedeng makasama. Kasi like, for example, yung notices of disallowance, it can be 2019, 2020, 21. Ngayon, kung ikaw na ang nakaupo, responsibilidad mo na yon. So, dapat ayusin mo yung mga notices na yon. Notices of disallowance, at iba pang mga notices na umabot na sa'yo. So, now, if you are already sitting there, that is already your responsibility. So, hindi maiiwasan na pati yung mga nangyari in the past, no? Na carry over sa'yo, you have to answer for that. Kasi ikaw na dapat ang didiskarte doon kung paano aayusin ang mga yon.
At the same time, ma'am, kindly perhaps give a short explanation. What is the purpose of all of these interpellations, questions, and answers every time there is that budget hearing at the committee level and even at the plenary? Ano po ba, ma'am, yung purpose talaga nito?
Well, first of all, yung budget, napaka-importante niyan, because actually the budget is yung napakapal na ganyan, na libro. Minsan, pa yan, 2. Napakakapal na libro na yan. It contains policies ng government, no? So, ibig sabihin, kung saan mo ilalagay ang budget mo, that means yun yung mga priorities mo na dapat mong pinopondohan. Kaya napaka-importante rin na ang mamamayan ay malaman kung paano mo ba ginamit yung dating budget, 'di ba? Ano ba 'yan? Ginamit mo ba 'yan ng maganda o nilustay mo ba o hindi ka ba efficient sa paggamit niyan? Merong mga layunin tayo Halimbawa, ang emphasis mo today or this year is building school classrooms,
Yes.
no? So dapat titingnan mo, ginamit nga ba sa pag-build ng classrooms ito o ginamit para kung saan man, 'di ba? So I think the people has the right to know kung saan ginastos ang pera nung nakaraang taon at paano ang mga priorities ngayon. So napaka-importante 'yan sa mamamayan.
Ma'am, in your 9 years experience, kung tama yung 9 years, ma'am, in Congress,
in
diba?
Congress 9.
Have you attended budget hearings for
yes.
DepEd?
Oh yes.
For DepEd.
Yes, oo, kasi importante 'yon.
Na-encounter niyo ba, ma'am, na there was once a time na DepEd had a line item for confidential funds o ngayon lang po ito, ma'am?
Yung kasing mga in the previous years, kahit nung panahon ko, meron ng so-called intelligence funds. 'Di ba?
Bawat departamento yan, ma'am.
Bawat departamento merong intelligence funds. Pero yung confidential funds, hindi ko ma-remember na naging controversial for DepEd, no?
Okay. Pero ma'am, sorry.
Yeah.
Pero ma'am, would you remember kung malaki, maliit o katamtaman lang itong hiningi ng ating o ginamit ng ating DepEd secretary before?
Well, I think in general, yung confidential and intelligence funds lumalaki over the years. At yung isang critic nga namin diyan, dahil lumalaki yan at lumalaki over the years, it's not because really they are doing something intelligent, no? The fact that, for example, Goa was able to leave the country and some other, criminals were able to escape responsibility for their crimes does not speak of how intelligent our law enforcers are, or even those who are given intelligence funds. Kaya actually kami, ang advocacy namin sa Makabayan is scrap na yan. Kasi we have agencies that can do intelligence better. No?
Isingit ko lang, ma'am, kasi nung ako po ay dating nasa gobyerno, naandun po ako sa Bureau of Immigration, yung aming confidential intelligence funds for a what do you call this? For a line and law enforcement agency, ma'am.
Yes.
4 million, ma'am, isang taon.
Oh my God.
4 million. As opposed to, magkano yung sa DepEd, ma'am? 100?
150 million. And may nagastos ng, I think, 115 million na hindi accounted for. No?
Pero, can you give us insights, ma'am, on how itong 2023 confidential funds were used and reported na na-liquidate na during this budget hearing, ma'am?
So, this was reported. Merong cover letter, di ba? At sinabing, na ito, liquidated na itong, I think, to the amount of 112 million pesos, no? Pero walang particulars. Walang particular. So, may sinasabing may mga rewards, yung mga kung ano-ano, no? Sinabi lang doon. Pero ano ba talaga yon? Kanino ba talaga binigay yon? Walang ganun ng details.
Hindi po ba, ma'am, nature ng confidential fund disbursement is, yun na nga, confidential na hindi nyo dapat kailangan malaman na kung sino, kung papaano dinisburse itong pera na ito?
Alam mo, ito nga yung mali tingin namin kasi kung merong ganyan na parang may secrecy sa paggamit ng pera, diyan na pumapasok yung corruption. At alam natin, hanggang ngayon sa gobyerno, talamak yan. Kaya ang amin talagang transparency. Ito yung advokasya namin na hindi naman, meron namang bagay na pwede mo talagang gawing confidential I mean, you can even maybe call for some executive meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
So on some things na talagang confidential, no, it really threatens your national security or whatever. Pero naging naging very common na ginagawang gatasan itong confidential intelligence fund, which is wrong.
Malipat naman tayo, ma'am, dun sa project ng DepEd ng computerization, yung pagbibigay ng mga laptops and computers dun sa mga teaching and non-teaching personnel natin. I think it was explained during that budget hearing na medyo late po yata yung delivery. At the same time, there were some issues with respect to the procurement. Ano yung po bang insights niyo po?
Yeah. Well, these are all according to COA reports, no? So hindi naman natin ito iniimbento lang. So according to COA report, dito sa computer, laptops and smart TV sets procurement, ang nung 2023, 2.18 billion lang out of 11.36 billion na dapat ilalaan dito. So ibig sabihin there is a low utilization of the money. At ito rin ang nagiging magkakaroon ng danger sa corruption. Hindi mo nagagamit yung pera, saan ito ilalagay? And then of course we know yung issue nung di ba? Unprogrammed projects.
Follow-up question lang muna, ma'am, bago
Okay,
doon sa
sige.
program.
Okay.
Kung hindi ma'am nagamit ng isang departamento, yung line item, for instance, na sinabi nyo na instead of 11 billion, 2 billion lang ang nagamit, hindi po ba pwedeng i-roll over yon to the next year?
Hindi basta ganun Kailangan mo yung i-report, no? At kumbaga ibabalik mo sa central fund, no? So, and then magre-request ka dapat ulit, di ba? Ang problema, yung meron ka ng history of underutilization, request ka ng request pa rin ng the same amount, no? I know that because I was also not only a legislator, I was lead convener of the National Anti-Poverty Commission,
Yes, ma'am.
di ba?
Yes.
So we know where the money is.
Pero in your capacity as head of the National
NAPSI.
Anti-Poverty Commission, nagkaroon din po ba kayo ng instance na merong line item sa budget ninyo from the current year na hindi nyo nagamit kaya na-carry over nyo doon sa next year?
Kailangan yan ng proseso. Dapat talaga, as a matter of principle, binabalik mo yan. Tapos nagre-request ka ulit ng budget for the coming year, di ba? And then yun ang aprobahan, and then the budget, the process goes on and on like that.
So, heavy experience being a legislator and part of the executive department, ma'am, ano sa tingin nyo ang dapat mangyari so that yung mga cases of underutilization, cases where the agency will have to request para maibalik yung kanyang nawala dapat na budget for that past year, maiwasan o mabawasan?
Well, una, kailangan talaga ang budget process, ang haba ng proseso na yan So, 'di ba, doon pa lang sa yung bago ka pa mag-propose ng bill mo, kailangan ipinag-aaralan mo, humingi ka na report sa mga regions, etc., etc. And then you have to make the budget. Tapos saka mo isasubmit yan, di ba?
So is it a case of just poor planning kaya nagkakaroon ng underutilization, ma'am?
Well, not only poor planning, I don't think that people are, especially if you are already in the secretary managerial level, di ba? Na it is poor planning. We have very good planners in the departments. And I know that. Diba? Halimbawa, sa NAPSI, yung aming planning doon, mahusay. So, alam nila. But I think it is intentional. No? Intentional, nalalakihan mo ang budget mo, na magkakaroon ka ng sobra, nalalakihan mo ang mga quotations per computer, for example. So, yun ang problema Yun ang problema sa budgeting. Kaya, buhol-buhol na problema na yan.
Addressing specifically, ma'am, tong DepEd's budget for 2025, meron po ba kayong mga maimumungkahi at para bang can share in terms of your observations on how it was prepared and how it was interpolated during this recent budget hearing?
Well, I think first of all, they were not able to explain how the money was spent. No, bakit nagkaroon ng ang baba talaga, yung underutilization, for example, 25%. Pero, doon sa intelligence and confidential funds, there was an effect, ang tawag ng COA is efficiency rate of about 143%.
Yes.
Di ba? So, kita mo talaga kung ano yung gustong gastusin dahil pwede siyang magtago doon.
Hindi po kaya madaling gastusin dahil hindi masyadong mahaba yung procurement process pagdating sa paggastos ng mga ganitong klaseng pondo?
Palagay ko hindi Kasi kung mahusay ka doon sa pagmamanage, hindi naman magiging mahaba talaga. No? Meron namang alam mo na, kung matagal ka na, may natural period yung things no? Para kung kailan meron kang bidding, di ba? Yung mga proseso na yan, dapat alam mo na. Pero I think it's more of really looking into where one can put, the money into their pockets. Ano yung item na pwede niyang kupitan? Siguro hindi lang kupitan no? Pwede niyang sakmalin yung pera para ilagay sa bulsa niya. No? And it showed dito sa karanasan sa DepEd.
Would you consider perhaps recommending some remedial measures so that yung gantong glaring difference in terms of efficiency of using the regular funds as opposed to confidential funds, medyo magkaroon naman ng konting consistency na hindi ganon kalayo yung efficiency in terms of using them?
Yeah. Well, of course, I think as a matter of real suggestion, dapat tingnan talaga yung examine mabuti. Ano nga pang use ng confidential and intelligence fund na yan? Kailangan ba yan? O kung kailangan man, magkano yung talagang reasonable, no? Given the nature of your agency. Isa yon. So kung hindi kailangan, tanggalin. Para yung pera mailagay sa mas importanteng pagkakagastusan. Like for example, learning materials, di ba? Yung mga computers, kailangan talaga yan ng mga bata natin ngayon. At saka yung mga classrooms, etc. So, pangalawa, I think kailangan, and this is for Secretary Angara, unsolicited advice, kailangan talaga siya maglinis ng ahensya. Talagang he really has to look into where money went, etc., etc. And third, I think, kailangan may mapasarusahan. I mean, I'm saying this straight, na kailangan may maparusahan. Kasi kung walang napaparusahan, nagkakaroon ng climate of impunity. And this goes on and on and on. No? So, for example, by the way, the Vice President handled the Department of Education, there is really grave abuse of power, abuse of authority on how she is going to use the funds, on how she is going to manage the department given all the inefficiency. Parang wala lang O sige, inefficient. O sige, ma-spoil yung yung gatas at magkaroon ng amag yung bread. 'Di ba? At dahil nga inefficient ka. Hindi mo agad na ibigay yung napaka-importante, pagkain para sa mga bata, di ba? So, there is a gross negligence of your responsibility as head of the department, and you must be responsible for all these things, no?
Ma'am, matanong ko naman kayo tungkol sa mga classrooms, no? Is it also the business of the Committee on Appropriations or Congress in general to look at how certain items are priced and procured? Kasi yung may nagsasabi nga, yung laptop, kung ganito katagal ang delivery, outdated na siguro. Pagdating naman sa classroom, bakit ganito yung floor price na binigay ng department as opposed to, sandali, yung iba medyo 50% discount eh. Is it right for Congress to ask these kinds of questions, ma'am?
Oh yes, definitely. Kahit nung time ko, it has been, there were questions leading to that. Bakit ito, nung pa yun, bakit ito, ang isang classroom lang, parang 350,000? Bakit dito, inaabot ng doble? Diba? So, laging may ganong tanungan.
May nangyari naman po doon, no? Nagtanungan po kayo na
I think there
gano'n.
should be a standard. And nandiyan yung DPWH natin, di ba? Who is supposed to know the standard for this. Hindi yung parang kada administration, halimbawa sa DepEd, siya ang magagawa siya ng standard for classroom. Siyempre dapat nag-uusap sila, di ba? Na itong dapat ang size ng classroom kasi this is the better learning environment and learning space for children, etc., etc. But there should be a standard.
Yes, ma'am. Given that meron naman standard, tapos mukha naman nauungkat ng ating House Committee at ng Congress na dapat merong standard in your many years as part of the appropriations, ma'am. Nakita niyo po ba merong konting improvement when it comes to reaching that, standard na hindi naman medyo overpriced o hindi naman parang sandali, lugi yata yung gobyerno pagdating sa paggastos ng ganitong klaseng item sa budget?
Parang siguro in some areas meron, like for example some LGUs na matitino, they really set standards for their schools, di ba? Pero I think by and large, pa rin meron pa rin mga discrepancy. Tapos sasabihin nung, ito kasi model na ganitong model ito Tapos yung pangalan niya nandoon, this is this kind of building or this kind of classroom. And then try to justify the amount by saying that this and this was this. But I'm really for standardizing our classroom.
Pero may nakita kayong mga improvement, man. Kasi baka sabihin naman ng iba, kahit tanungin naman ng Congress sa atin, we still get our way. Pabayaan mo sila magtanong, mag-usisa during budget hearings, but we will always have our way din naman pagdating sa mga line agencies, ma'am.
Actually, ang pagdating sa classrooms, ang problema talaga natin, we still lack classrooms. 'Di ba? Tapos pangalawa, yung comfort doon sa classrooms, lalo na pag summer, lalo na ngayon, 'di ba? Naalaman natin nung summer and a few summers ago na painit na ng painit, walang adequate ventilation, no? Yung mga schools na conducive para makapag-aral ang mga bata. So meron pa ring mga nag-aaral doon sa ilalim ng puno, 'di ba? Dahil walang classroom. And then doon sa mga malalayo, yung tatawid ka pa ba ng ilog at saka ng bundok. So dapat talaga lagyan na ng mga classrooms 'yan, no? Kaya tingin ko mas kailangang tutukan 'yun
In one of the questions from during that budget hearing, ma'am, sa DepEd, may nag-point out na isang kongresista na baka naman pwede yung regional yung ating procurement of certain items, especially laptops, computers, and those smart TVs. Sang-ayon po ba kayo dun, ma'am?
Mahirap din yung ganun Like for example, isang naging problema natin sa health, di ba? Yung nilagay na siya sa LGU, merong may mga LGU na okay, so they were able to really, take care of the health and put the budget doon sa prioritize nilang health. Pero yung iba, may hindi ganon ang pagtingin. Kaya nagsasuffer yung health program nila. O di kaya, ito yung mga devolution problems, di ba? Ang dami na ring mga debate tungkol dyan. Pero I think, kung mga basic services like health, education, di ba? Kailangan talaga may national policy ka dyan. Kailangan standard. Kailangan pananagutan talaga ng national government na i-provide itong basic services sa abot kayang kamay at saka quality.
So focusing on just, let's say, the budget of the DepEd being a basic service and need. Sa inyo, ma'am, kasi whether it's centralized or regionalized, sabi niya, ma'am, may problema din naman kasi kung in terms of utilization, in terms of delivery of these goods and services, ano talaga, ma'am, ang dapat
I think it should be
solution?
Yeah, I think it should be nationalized. Ang problema doon sa mga nag-handle sa national level, sila ang problema. Na ano, 'di ba? It should not be the agency itself, pero yung naghahawak noong kapangyarihan para ayusin yung kanilang mga serbisyo. So I think na para meron kang central plan, no? At natitiyak yung plano, kailangan talaga national services ito, national yung mga national structures mo, yung department, ang merong responsibility at maglagay ka ng mga ng hindi waldas. O di kaya yung mga hindi disenteng tao sa sa mga ahensya na to.
Lumalabas kasi, ma'am, yung mga head ng BAC, head ng mga TWG, these are all appointed and assigned by the head of the agency, and at the same time, head of agency naman is appointed by the appointing authority. Paano natin maiwasan, ma'am, yung mga tipong na-assign na medyo hindi maganda yung track record o known as to be inefficient or worse, corrupt?
Yeah.
Anong mamumungkahin nyo ron, ma'am?
So in the first place, kung na-assign sila doon, that is intentional, no? So ibig sabihin, may responsibilidad yung department head doon sa nangyaring yon, ang inappoint mo doon ay corrupt pala, no? So pangalawa, kailangan nga na maparusahan ng mga ito, yung mga corrupt. Kasi otherwise, nagkakaroon talaga ng climate of impunity pagdating ng corruption. Pangatlo, and this I want to address to the people themselves, na dapat talaga tayong mga mamamayan ay nagbabantay, no? Nagbabantay doon sa ating mga inelect na mga opisyales ng gobyerno. Hindi tayo magre-rest doon sa pagkatapos iboto, tapos na ang responsibility natin. Nagbabantay tayo dapat. At ganun din sa mga eleksyon, huwag tayong maghalal ng mga korap. At saka yung wala nangangako lang, pero pagka nakaupo, alam mo, pangako, hindi na lang napapako eh. Pagka nakaupo, lalo pa tayong humihirap.
Parang ang hirap naman po yata ang gusto nyo mangyari dyan na yung ating mga botante ay wag boboto ng hindi korap. Yung po ba solusyon ninyo?
Of course, oo.
Paano natin
Importante yun.
ma-implement yung ganyan? Lahat po tayo, lahat dito sa kwarto na ito, lahat ng mga nakikinig sa ating programa. Yun ang gusto mangyari. How can we implement or operationalize that idea?
Well, siyempre matagal na education 'yan, no? And in a country that is poor, napaka-susceptible talaga yung guns, goons and gold, 'di ba? Pero I think I have high hopes na through education natin, yung efforts nyo ngayon na meron kayong ganito sa media na nagdi-discuss tayo ng very important to mga efforts sa ito in order to educate our people. But also, again, para hindi magkaroon ng climate of impunity, yung bentahan ng boto, dapat napaparusahan din yung bumibili ng boto. Kasi nasa kanilang onus ng ng bigat ng kasalanan diyan sa vote buying and everything.
Last few questions, ma'am,
Okay.
sa akin bago sa media, ma'am, no? May side question lang dito kasi dahil you talked about impunity. Yung portion lang doon sa presentation naman ng budget ng OVP. Again, being a member of Congress before, part of the Appropriations Committee before, na nakapag-interpolate na kayo, what can you say about the demeanor of the budget proponent who is the head of the agency of the Office of the Vice President, in terms of that particular budget briefing, ma'am, that she gave a standard answer, or she tried to give that standard answer to all of the questions coming from Congress, ma'am?
So it showed, it really showed her, bratty attitude. At saka yung shiminette governance, na sinasabi nila, na evasive, no? Ay hindi sinasagot ng diretso yung mga tanong. Tapos nag-gaslight pa siya na yung pangkasalanan nung nagtatanong, no? Ibinabalik niya sa nagtatanong yung kasalanan at saka yung mali sa halip na i-accept niya kung meron siyang mga pagkukulang, no? Di sabi niya it was on my part, but she will not say that because being a daughter of the previous president, she thinks that she can get away with anything.
In your many years as part of the House, meron po ba kayo na-encounter na resource person na inimbitahan ng House na ganito yung parang sinabi nga ninyo, parang bratty attitude?
No, wala. Wala. Kahit pa sabihin nating alam natin medyo corrupt ito or whatever. Walang ganon. Ito lang talaga ang nakita ko na ganyan sumagot at ang liit ng tingin doon sa mga legislators.
Pero would you say, ma'am, that being a resource person, being invited, di ba, lumalabas na meron din akong karapatan kung paano sumagot, na it is within her rights as a resource person to answer the way she wants to answer those questions coming from the committee?
I will ask her, ganyan ko ba sumagot nung nangangampanya ka? Di ba? Ibig sabihin, of course, we are public servants. That should be our attitude. Kung mga opisyalis tayo ng gobyerno at hindi tayo dapat nagiging mapagmalaki at inililinaw natin sa public because that is our responsibility. Nililinaw natin sa public kung paano tayo nag-go-govern, paano natin ginagasta yung pinagkakatiwalaan sa ating pondo. Ito, kinuha natin to sa ordinaryong mamamayan di ba? Na kumakain ng noodles, pinatungan natin yan ng VAT. Yung VAT, kinuha natin. Di ba? So, they have the right to know.
So, just to be more specific, ma'am, is it within her rights to answer that way?
No.
No.
She doesn't have that right. She is a public official and she has the responsibility to explain.
Conversely naman, ma'am, is that kind of, gamitin ko lang po yung words ninyo na bratty attitude, yung demeanor niya during that interpellation, hindi po ba yan grounds for some kind of discipline coming from the committee?
Well, actually, yes. But even more than that, I even think that is already grounds for impeachment. No, kasi she really showed yung brazen disregard for the public trust that was given to her, no? When they elected her to office, it is with the trust that she is going to do her job well, and not only well, responsibly, but she did not do that. At ganun pa, no? So I think, and not only the attitude, no, or this attitude, yung mismong pag-abuse ng power niya, at saka mismong yung hindi niya maipaliwanag na pinagastusan niya. Kailangan niyang I think kailangan niyang that is basis enough, I think, for saying that there is an erosion of public trust sa kanya.
Is it safe to assume, ma'am, na if that behavior is sufficient to support impeachment, is it sufficient to support at the very least contempt coming from Congress, or talagang impeachment lang na sa tingin ninyo, ma'am?
Well, I think also yung parang sobra-sobrang pagbabastos doon sa, even gusto niyang palitan yung nagpipreside, di ba? Yung committee head. This is very arrogant. This is really very unbecoming of a public official.
Sige, ma'am. I think we are now open for questions from the media. Okay lang, ma'am? Again, our rules na state your name, the outfit that you represent, and then pakidirect na lang kay ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Hello, magandang umaga po. Maraming salamat po for having us here, yung members po ng media. I was with Manila Bulletin for 33 years pero wala na doon. So I established my own news site, Science and Digital News, and it's about digital, science, and current affairs on everything under the sun. So, ma'am, dalawa po sana yung tatanong ko. It's about government agency savings and yung intelligence fund na kasama yung corruption po. So, ang una po, meron po bang karapatan ng every government agency, LGUs including po, na mag-save sila purposely para pagdating ng December po, malaki yung sharing nila? Kasi parang may alam na ako na ganoon po, ma'am.
Hindi po ganyan. Kasi yung ganyan na tipo ng management, hindi po yan tamang pag-manage ng isang ahensya. Kasi meron po tayong mga quarterly planning. May monthly pa. Na dapat, January, start of this month, nire-report mo na nagagastos mo. Yung mga dapat gastusin mo for January, February, March, para sa first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. Kaya, pagka po nagka-cabinet meeting kami, halimbawa middle of the year, tinitingnan na namin ano na ang utilization rate. So, dapat binibigyan na ng notice yung mga ahensya na, bakit 25% ka pa lang? O bakit 50% ka pa lang? Yung mga ganon. So, a good manager should be able to spend not only spend well, but spend according to the time period that you should be able to release the money. Kasi halimbawa, yung feeding program. So yung ganun, yung time sensitive yun eh. You should be able to release to buy at hindi mo na kailangang i-stock pa yan. 'Di ba? Kaya nagkakaamag, na-spoil yung milk. So, yun po yung dapat na paraan kung paano ka nagma-manage ng isang agency o ng isang department.
Follow up po doon, ma'am, sir. So, pag ano po, wala po bang ang DBM or national government na parusahan yung mga government agencies, LGUs na sadyang ginagawa po yung ganon?
Kasi, para kasing kung titingnan mo sa tagal na nangyayari, para may conspiracy na, sige, ito yung kulturang gawin natin. Meron tayong underutilized, tapos, and then later, pwede nating i-realign yung pera na yan. And now, there is already, it is being inputted into the system, no? It is being, how do you call it? Institutionalized. No? Yung ganong klaseng diskarte ng pagsisave, or they call it sometimes savings, no? Para gawin itong pork barrel ng sinuman. No? Yung mga unprogrammed, ito na nga yung nadidiscover na natin ngayon, yung mga unprogrammed appropriations. Diba? So, yung mga sobra, like for example, yung sobra sa PhilHealth, sasabihin, ano yun? These are parang hindi nagastos, na dapat sana, gagastusin mo yun for health, di ba? Pero kukunin mo yon and then ilalagay mo doon sa mga unprogrammed appropriations. Na doon, nagkakaroon na ng deal. Etong galing sa Mindanao, may project akong ganito. Galing sa Negros, may project akong dito. Tapos yun yung popondohan. And it is now being institutionalized, which is parang institutionalized corruption.
Maraming salamat po, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Paulo Flores, columnist po ng Daily Tribune. Hindi ho ba alam ng mga nasa gobyerno na ang intelligence fund or confidential fund is not subject for auditing? Second, alam po natin na lahat ng departamento, sabi nyo nga, merong intelligence fund. Paano po natin ito ma-check and balance? And at the same time, meron po ba itong legal basis?
But I think the check and balance there is to really press na dapat mabuksan yung intelligence and confidential funds. I think, even sa amin sa Makabayan, una, ilalagay mo lang yung intelligence and confidential funds doon sa mga ensya that are really doing that job. No? And baka doon, pwede mo pang isekreto talaga kasi talagang katulad ng sinasabi ni Sir na no, na sa immigration, kailangan mo talagang gawin yan. But for ordinary agencies, hindi na kailangan ng intelligence and confidential funds. Or kung meron man, talagang dapat mong i-explain na mabuti. And there should be a way of like for example, dapat meron niyang meron niyang guidelines na ito, ganito, ito pwede lang, itong mga ensya na ito pwede lang maglagay niyan at saka dito lang siya gagamitin at saka ganito lang amount. Hindi kasi ngayon parang soda libre 'di ba? Kaya ginagamit talaga para sa corruption.
Idagdag ko lang, sir, no? Again, based on my experience of handling confidential funds before as head of agency, it's not accurate to say that it's not subject to audit. It's still subject to audit except that the liquidation instrument will not be as extensive as hahanapan mo ng OR. Ang ginagawa po namin noon, 8-9 years ago sa Bureau of Immigration, the head of agency, the one who requested or entrusted with those funds, gumagawa ng some kind of report that says that I spent this much for a certain project as part of my confidential budget. Tapos pinipirmahan ng head of agency. And that should be sufficient on the part of COA. Ang I think naging diferensya kasi, ma'am, yung paggastos ng confidential funds, may kasama mga ibang items na dapat hindi sinama to sa expense ng confidential fund. Bakit? Meron doon medical reimbursement. Hindi dapat ganon. That's as far as I know, being part of the Bureau of Immigration before and part of the intelligence community nung sundalo pa ako. Ganyan ang parang requirement sa amin. Fred, magkano ginastos mo sa gantong meron kang miniting na informant? Ito, pipirma ko. And then, I don't have to share kung sino yung informant na yon except for those who are need to know. Yes. Kaya alam ng boss ko. Ngayon kung yung boss ko, i-share niya doon sa boss niya hanggang doon sa hepe ng Department of Defense, that's fine. Pero on my end, at least nasasabi ko doon sa selected na tao on the need to know. Kaya nga, confidential.
Yes, sir.
Oo.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Happy morning. I'm Ms. Horizon Chaser, Vice President din po ng SciTech. And kung dito tayo sa solution, kasi 'di ba po, naniniwala tayo na may problema, may solution din. So yung issue diyan sa DepEd at yung iba pang ahensya, kung tatanungin ko po kayo, kung kayo po si Pangulo ngayon or kayo po ang nasa Congress, anong solution po ba ang dapat? At ano po ang dapat gawin ng mamamayang Pilipino kapag po nakasaksi sila sa mga corruption para po males yung problema, 'di ba po? Kasi hindi pwede banat lang tayo ng banat. So ano po ang nakalaan dito na solution para sa inyo lang po? Thank you.
Sige po. So unang-una, gaya nga ng sinabi ko na rin kanina, kailangan mabusisi mo. Kailangan ma-expose mo. Kasi pag in-expose mo, doon mo makikita na may problema nga. So that's one. So yung pag-expose should be free, there should be freedom and exposing anomalies or scrutinizing a budget, for example. Hindi ka pa nagko-conclude. Pero pag pag sa antimano, binabara mo o hindi mo sinasagot, di may problema na doon, di ba? Pangalawa, I think na pag in-expose mong ganon, then nakikita mo, nadidefine mo yung problem eh. And that is important in order for you to solve it. Diba? Kasi kung hindi mo nakikita, hindi mo na paano mo iso-solve? Diba? Kaya nga yung information, diba? Yung right to information, importante 'yon na so that we can address problems. Yung elements na 'yon, sasabihin na natin wala. So anong gagawin mo ngayon? Diba? So you have to call out. Diba? You have to call out. The people have to call out. And then you have to institute a system where it does not happen again. And how is that, so siguro kung one time lang, education, di ba? Pagka yung sobra-sobra na, to the point of plunder na, dapat may maparusahan.
Sige po. Sige po, attorney.
Kasi ma'am, tanong ko lang kanina, yung puro call out na lang tayo. Kung wala naman nangyayari, edi sasabihin, yung mga Congress, salita na ng salita, wala naman nangyayari. Parang never-ending solution, ma'am.
Yeah.
Anong any specific idea to stop all of this cycle, ma'am?
Ano kayong tingin?
O kaya po, kung meron...
Have other solutions.
Or ibig ko lang sabihin po kung meron po kayong nakalatag na solution na maaaring i-share na rin po sa mga total nandito na po ang media, 'di ba po? So malaking tulong din ang media So kahit alam natin na meron na po kayo nakalaan. Kung kayo lang po, hindi naman alam ng mamamayan. So, yun po. Ito na po yung pagkakataon na gusto namin malaman kung ano po yung solution na yun na galing po sa inyo. Thank you po.
Opo. Alam nyo, kung ating aaraling mabuti, lahat ng mga bagay magkakaugnay Ang daming magkakaugnay. We cannot just solve this one na merong ganitong corruption dito without understanding the root of corruption, di ba? So, merong kadahilanan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng corruption sa bansa natin, kung ba't malalim ito at kung bakit hindi ito masolusyunan. Yung Makabayan, kami sa Makabayan, meron kaming tinatawag na programa namin, no? Yung alternative program namin for governance. So, yung isa, yung ayusin natin ang ekonomiya natin. Para nang sa ganon, nagiging maunlad tayo. Para nang sa ganon, yung mga tao, halimbawa, merong enough sila na pera, hindi sila matetempt na magbenta ng boto nila, for example. Di ba?
Opo.
So, meron din tayong pera para umunlad yung ating ekonomiya. Di ba? So, may program kami doon. Yung lagi na naming sinasabi since time immemorial, yung genuine agrarian reform and national industrialization. And you know, even pag-aralan mo ang ibang mga bansa na na-industrialize, they went through land reform. No? Pero sa atin, hindi natin ma-break yung land monopoly ng mga malalaking may-ari ng lupa. We have to do that. We have to do that. Hindi naman ano rin naman i-compensate mo rin naman, no? So, but we have to make these decisions if we are going to move forward. Of course, yung China, alam na natin, nag-land reform yun. Yung Vietnam, nag-land reform yun. Even the US, nag-land reform yan. Japan, nag-land reform yan. Lahat nag-land reform yan. So, yun. And then, of course, national industrialization, and then yung respect doon sa madali, yung pagkakaroon ng trabaho, pagkakaroon ng nakakabuhay na sahod, benepisyo sa manggagawa, yung karapatan ng ating mga kababaihan, yung mga ganyan, ano? And then, of course, we have a program for peace. We have the program for national independence, for national independence and independent foreign policy. We have yung walang dynastiya, no to yung political dynasty, yung reform sa government, no? Na walang dynasty, yung corruption, tinatanggal natin, magkakaroon tayo ng mabigat na parusa doon sa mga corrupt na government officials, no? Tapos, para sa kalikasan. So, yun, may programa kami. And I think, malinaw sa amin, halimbawa sa Makabayan, by the way, mag-field kami ng full slate, almost full slate, 11 senatoriables for the next election. So, malinaw sa amin na dapat, pag tumatakbo ka, meron kang programa, hindi yung yung popularity, yung person-based politics. Hindi ngayon, dapat talaga itaas na natin ang level ng politics natin na pinipili natin ang programa, hindi lang yung mga kung gwapo ka or na wala di ba? Like the number 1 senator who was
Any other questions? Go ahead, please.
Ako po si Mr. Chot Velasquez, Elizalde Broadcasting. Ang gusto ko pong itanong, Kong, yung bang confidential intelligence fund ng DepEd, no? ay meron ba itong legal na basis? Kasi you mentioned kanina na parang gusto niyo siyang ipaalis na lang because you think na ito ay nagiging paraan ng corruption. Tapos ito ay hindi kapaki-pakinabang para sa bayan. So, ang curiosity ko po dito ay meron ba itong legal foundation? Kasi kung ito ay mandated by law, then tama po ba na hindi ito basta-basta maalis unless na magkaroon ng panibagong batas?
I-repeal, no?
Apo,
Or
apo.
ano? Yung kasing appropriations bill is a law in itself, di ba? So, once you put something there, nagiging ano siya, nagiging batas siya, di ba? So, and when it is approved, nagiging batas yun, di ba? And it has the force of law. So, pag inilalagay mo yun doon, di nagiging, at ina-approve nyo, di nagiging batas yun, di ba? Kaya nga, ang sinasabi namin, tanggalin siya doon para hindi siya nagiging batas. Di ba? So, of course, mahirap kasi pagka lahat kayo nakikinabang, to your own interest, lahat kami may confidential fund, ba't namin tatanggalin? So, yun yung mahirap. Then we know that the solution is not there. Di ba? The solution is in the people for them to put pressure on their representatives and et cetera, et cetera. So, ganun yung buhay natin, di ba?
Follow-up question po dun sa kaninang binanggit ninyo na kagaya sa Makabayan, meron kayong mga programa para i-address yung maraming mga problema ng bansa. Pero hindi po ba yung mga binanggit ninyo ay mga long shot? Hindi po ba ito ay nangangailangan ng mga immediate na mga solutions? Like for example, kagaya niyan, kung nakikita po ninyo na talagang problema yung confidential intelligence fund na you think na hindi appropriate sa ibang mga agencies, kung hindi, meron lang mga specific na mga agencies na dapat mayroon nito, ano po ang mga immediate na posibleng solution po dyan sa mga problema?
So, ang napaka-immediate, tanggalin yan.
Paano nga po yun gagawin?
Di wag i-approve. Tanggalin doon sa appropriations bill. 'Di ba? Para hindi siya maging batas. Ang isa pa, yung mga specifics, marami rin kami specifics. Like for example, pagtataas ng sahod ng mga manggagawa, tapos yung halimbawa, pagbibigay ng mga ayuda, tapos yung mga hindi mo dapat yung practice ng mga unprogrammed appropriations, no? Pagtatanggal ng pork barrel. Pwede mong gawin yan kasi di ba may time na tinanggal? So, pwede talaga natanggalin. Ngayon, bumabalik, nag-iibang anyo, nag-iibang pangalan. No? Kaya we have to be very, yung discerning. Tignan talaga natin kung ito pala ay pork barrel, iba lang pangalan. Di ba? At ganun ang nangyayari. Kaya hindi biro itong ginagawang budget process ngayon. Talagang kailangan nating yung mamamayan kailangang ma-involve dito. And I think that's the responsibility of those our legislators who are brave enough to push for really, for questions that are really hard. At for asserting na dapat masagot ang mga tanong na yan kasi para ito sa mga mamamayan na maunawaan nila ito.
Maraming salamat po.
Idagdag ko lang, ma'am, no? Kasi yung sinabi ni sir about legal basis, tama po kayo. The legal basis will be the law itself. Pero yung how it becomes a law, dumadaan yun sa process nga ng budget preparation na, kunwari, galing sa, in my experience, Bureau of Immigration, Department of Justice, tapos DBM. So, kunyari, meron kaming program na gusto namin bumili ng eroplano. Example lang, para panghatid sa mga fugitive. Ngayon, ipapa-approve na namin siya sa DOJ. Na i-justify namin na kailangan namin ito. Kung pumayag ang DOJ, ganun din naman sa DBM. We have to justify na kailangan ng ahensya. So, lumalabas there is that process whereby you try to justify that line item. Pagdating sa Congress, yun na yung pinaka-basis nila. Isasama ba natin ito sa General Appropriations Act? Para na sa ganun, ito ang legal basis for that particular fund, for that particular project. So, hindi madali gumawa ng budget. Kaya naalala ko noon, ma'am, parang 3-4 months before the hearing, ginagawa na namin yung budget At saka sangkatutak na alignment just to make sure na we can really defend the budget.
Yeah, and also supposed to be, di ba may hearing pa yan? Nag-i-invite pa ng mga resource persons na from the
Department Family, ma'am.
hindi lang. Pagka may hearing, 'di ba, yung mga ordinaryo na mga tao na concerned doon, may stake doon sa doon sa budget na 'yan, they are invited to come so that they can interpolate the sponsors para mas mabusisi pa rin yung budget, 'di ba?
I think while anyway, ma'am, meron pa ako isang tanong. Kasi I think in one of those hearings, one congressman suggested two things. Sabi niya, isama niyo sana sa budget ng DepEd yung subsidy sa Boy Scout at Girl Scout. At the same time, isama sa matatag curriculum yung physical education. Ano po ba masasabi niyo ron, ma'am? Na is it right for a congressman to suggest, and at the same time what do you think of that particular suggestion?
Yung po mga Boy Scout and Girl
Boy
Scout
Scout and Girl Scout subsidy, and at the same time yung sinasabi nga ng isang congressman na lagay nyo ang physical education, ibalik ninyo sa curriculum ng matatag curriculum na ginagawa natin ngayon.
Nag-agree, I fully agree. Girl Scout po ako noon. And I know yung benefits, I mean sa mga mga bata, yung disiplina, yung training, at yung PE lalo na. Napaka-importante yan para sa ating mga kabataan, para sa mga bata. Yeah, I think this, ang dami pa, nag-evolve na rin yung curriculum to the extent na yung comprehensive growth ng mga bata, yung full growth nila in many aspects of their persona, hindi na hindi na di-develop doon sa ng curriculum. Kasi yung education natin actually mas nagse-serve na doon sa nagse-serve na doon sa what is dominant ngayon Like halimbawa, I remember nung kongresista ako, I blocked the proposal to make English the medium of instruction. Because there was a proposal at ang reason kung bakit, dahil daw doon sa mga call centers. Kasi yun daw ang trabaho. I mean, these jobs are the available jobs, yung call center. And then I argued, sabi ko, hindi. So dyan na lang babagsakan ng mga graduates natin. Napaka-kitid na pananaw. And also at the same time, which is more important, ang dami ng studies na mas nakakatuto ang mga bata kung mag-start sila sa mother tongue. So buti na lang hindi na hindi na ituloy yung gawin na lang English ang medium of instruction natin mula doon sa mula doon sa bata.
So in other words, ma'am, in a typical budget hearing, the members of Congress can suggest and at the same time block or delete a particular item in the budget?
Oh yes, definitely. Kaya may ganong deliberation And I know may mga lobby groups na pumupunta sa amin, sinasabi sa amin, and that is what I was saying, na nakaka-intervene din yung ordinaryong mamamayan. Because they are saying na, ito dapat ang pondo ilagay sa ganitong hospital, but walang funding dito? O ba't hindi magawa ng hospital dito sa lugar namin? So yung mga ordinaryong mamamayan, they come to us and also lobby for those things.
Hindi po ba masasabi na that is already some kind of encroachment on the powers of the executive kapag, let's say, nakikialam yung mga congressmen?
Hindi. No, because actually sabi nga yung Congress has the power of the purse, diba? So because that is a distinct power of Congress, we should be able to exercise that very, very responsibly. Importanteng task yan ng Congress.
I agree with you, ma'am, kasi that is the essence of any budget hearing before it becomes a law, na meron talagang power ang Congress to really monitor, agree, suggest, and disagree with certain projects of a particular agency. Otherwise, kung it will not be subject to any kind of scrutiny, edi wala talaga yung tinatawag nga nating checks and balances
Yes.
na parati nating masasabi pero perhaps hindi masyadong naintindihan. Kaya nga lumalabas, the entire budget hearing is a process whereby the people, through the representatives, can speak out. Kaya nga sinasabi niyo, ma'am, na lobby, kasama po yun sa proseso, na they can really voice out their opinions, their suggestions through the proper representatives in Congress para sila naman ang magsasabi doon sa mga ahensya na, o baka naman itong focus nyo, balik nyo ang Girl Scout, Boy Scout subsidy, mga ganun po bang klaseng proseso. So, thank you. Sige ma'am, may follow up.
Tungkol po doon sa may mga ahensya lang ng gobyerno na sa tingin po ninyo ang mas dapat na mayroong intelligence fund. May nakausap po kasi ako na taga DepEd. Ganito yung kanyang sinasabi na ang kagaya ng military, and I think lahat po tayo mag-agree, kailangan yan talaga ng intelligence fund po, no? Pero ang sabi niya, ang focus ng military ay national security. Kung sa police naman, ang focus naman yan ay yung prevention ng crime, peace and order. Ano pa. Pero sabi niya, ang isang problema sa DepEd, sa mga probinsya, may mga nagre-recruit sa mga bata para mag-join doon sa mga maling organisasyon, maling mga aktibidad na hindi may aasa, sabi niya, either sa police o di kaya doon sa military dahil hindi nga yun yung kanilang focus. Kaya yun ang to a certain effect, yun ang sinasabi niyang justification kung bakit yung DepEd ay dapat o kailangan ng sarili niyang confidential intelligence fund. Ano pong komento niyo sa ganun?
Ang tingin ko po, halimbawa yung sa mga bata na nare-recruit ng halimbawa gang or whatever, kung talagang mahusay ka na school, no, or teacher or school manager, malalaman mo yan when you are also closely working with the family of the children. At meron niyang ganyan. Alam ko nung bata ako, 'di ba, may ganyan, patawag mo yung nanay pagka yung tatay, pagka yung may nakikita ka na hindi na maganda or odd doon sa bata. And then, kung ano na yan, kung pagdodroga na yan or whatever na illegal, and then you can report to authorities kung may ginagawa na siyang illegal. At kung kung tama ka na na pagma-manage mo ng school mo, magagawa mo 'yan. Even if you go to other schools abroad, may system sila kung paano nila ginigiyahan at saka nalalaman kung ano ang ginagawa ng mga estudyante nila. No? So, I don't think that is a justification for this confidential intelligence funds.
Kung may dadagdag lang ako, sir, kasi I was with the armed forces for 16 years. I will not call it an insult, but lack of trust on the part of our military and police organizations na ang focus lang nila is national security, peace and order. Parang you're just touching the slight portion of their mission. But ang actual mission nila is to really address the root of all of these organizations that are against the government in such a way that kung meron mang recruitment na nangyayari na sinasabi nung source po ninyo doon sa DepEd na kailangan sila ang gumawa, medyo hindi yata maganda yon sa pandinig ng ating AFP at saka ng PNP. Because that should be part and parcel of their mission. Na national security, peace and order, kasama din yung addressing the root cause of all of these organizations that are impacting our national security and peace and order.
And you're just skimming the issue, no? More to the point, the way Vice President Duterte prioritized her objectives doon sa NTF-ALCAC is also another question sa kanya, di ba? Na mas binigyan niya ng focus yung sinabi niya pag-i-spy niya doon sa nagre-recruit daw ng mga NPA doon sa schools, which I think is a wrong direction on her part. Kaya nung sinabi ni Sir, merong mga ahensya na pwedeng gumawa niyan. But not you integrate, you are militarizing the school system if you think that way.
More questions? Go ahead, sir.
Nats Alforte, reporter po ng MHA Balita ng Bansa. Tanong ko lang po yung tungkol doon sa budget hearing sa OBP. Pwede ba ito o dapat na pag hindi niya talaga ibinigay tamang kasagutan na hindi makumbinsi ang Kamara, pwede ba i-freeze yung kanilang budget?
Actually, ako I already called for a zero budget for the OVP dahil nga hindi niya ma-explain yung as a result of the hearing the last time. Ba't hindi? Yun nga yung dati yung ginagawa namin yun pagka hindi masagot o di kaya evasive o hindi mapaliwanag. So may magpo-propose talaga ng zero budget until you get the reports. Diba? Yun na nga that's a powerful tool of the Congress and you should be able to exercise that responsibly.
Pero may nangyari na po ba sa Congress ang ganitong sitwasyon? Na freeness o zero?
Well, ang nangyayari dyan, di nag-uusap. So, nagko-consider, then you meet halfway. Hindi yung parang inignore mo na lang. Talagang hindi nagmatigas ka na, di ba? I don't know what will be the demeanor of the Vice President the next hearing. But, let's see.
Ay, maraming salamat. And with that, I think we will wrap up today's episode, ma'am. Thank you very much for your very insightful comments and opinions. Sana po, ma'am, wag po kayong magsawa to air all of these important perspectives na kailangan malaman ng ating publiko. Tandaan po natin na ang isang budget, ang sinasabi nga po ng karamihan ng mga congressmen, this is the most important legislation ever. Every time there is that GAA. So, tama po yun na ganun ang pananaw dapat ng publiko, masusi dapat ang pagsisiyasat every time there is that budget presentation. Hindi lang po kasi na matagal at mahirap ginawa yung budget, but at the same time, importante po yan dahil saan po ba nanggagaling, ma'am, yung pera? Di ba? Yung pera po nanggagaling sa bawat Pilipino na nagbabayad ng tamang buwis. Di ba? Kaya nga, tama lang po yung ginagawa po ng Congress and sana naman po yung mga resource persons po natin very open to all of these kinds of comments, criticisms, pressure kasi sila po ay voice of the people. So, yun lang po, ma'am. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo and mabuhay po kayo. And that's a wrap for our program for today. The Agenda. Good morning.